How accurate is Zacharia Sitchin about the Nephilim, Anunnaki, Nibiru, etc.? Dear Gregorius, thank you for the message you sent me about Zacharia Sitchin's work. As a reply, I'm sending you the review of the Jewish PhD Michael H. Heiser, Professor, University of Wisconsin-Madison and Pennsylvania, USA, scholar of the Hebrew Bible and Semitic languages and ancient history, Israel and Egypt, who wrote this. Quote, Zacharia Sitchin's work came to my attention only a year ago when I finished the book as a trained scholar of ancient Semitic languages, and with my lifelong interest in UFOs and the paranormal, I was excited about Mr. Sitchin's studies since I had heard that he was a Sumerian. I thought I had found a soulmate, maybe even a guide to navigating the intersection of my academic studies with ufology. Unfortunately, I was wrong. In the ancient Sumerian text, we have descriptions of beings that descended from the sky and are helpers of the gods. They are called Anunnaki, and nowhere are they mentioned as gods, but as helpers of the gods. My disagreement is not due to philosophical translation. Like Sitchin's, I mainly disagree that the translators of certain words. What is at stake is the integrity of the cuneiform tablets, along with the legacy of Mesopotamian scribe makers. The ancient Mesopotamians compiled their own dictionaries, and we have them, and they have been published since the middle of the last century. The words of Sitchin that he translates as rocket or ship do not have such interpretations in the ancient Mesopotamians. Likewise, when Sitchin attempts connections between Sumerian gods and Mesopotamian gods without any historical evidence, and neither cites his sources as the basis on which the Sumerians believed there were 12 planets in our solar system, nor that the Anunnaki lived on the planet Nibiru, the supposed 12th planet, as shown by its arbitrary interpretations. Sitchin insists on views that reject the legacy of the ancient Sumerians and Akkadians. I put it bluntly, the question is it more reasonable to believe an ancient Mesopotamian scribe or Sitchin's air words that erode a history of thousands of years? ? I don't believe Sitchin has done any work on ancient languages because I've never seen any academic credentials in the form of degrees or transcripts. Some of the mistakes he makes are at such a low level of language knowledge that I doubt he knows anything about ancient languages he claims to know. Zacharia Sitchin has made many mistakes. He does not seem to have understood even the basic rules of grammar and vocabulary of the Sumerian language, since he does not possess any academic credentials. It's actually a surprisingly boring study. I assume that Sitchin does not understand ancient biblical Hebrew grammar, and he does not convince me that he knows any ancient languages or that he is an expert in any language. I say this because of his language mistakes. I sent a personal letter to Zacharia Sitchin, and it has never been answered. I have yet to see any biography or evidence that Sitchin ever studied any languages. Sitchin insists that Elohim in Genesis 1:26-27 is in the plural, thus demanding that we interpret the passage as supporting his idea that extraterrestrial gods Anunnaki created humanity. Sitchin claims that the word Nephilim means those who came down from above, or those who descended to earth, or the people of the flaming rockets. These translations, of course, serve his purpose and do not agree with the actual translations of the dictionaries. And to be fair, I could not expect a response from someone who has no language training whatsoever. The University of Chicago for many decades compiled the gold standard Akkadian lexicon and the lexicon of ancient Assyrians with the help of scholars at the Institute of Oriental Studies of the University of Chicago, which Sitchin ignores. Sitchin, in the back of his books and on the internet, always tries to note that he had studied the ancient language and history. The scientific questions I put to him in an open letter from 2001 have never been convincingly answered, nor will they ever, because Sitchin died in 2010, and because he claims were a complete farce. His claims were a complete farce. Zacharia Sitchin is not a scholar of ancient languages. What he has written in his books could neither be peer-reviewed nor informed by actual data from the primary sources. More importantly, he did not explain why there was no attempt to organize any kind of discussion. Zero response, no substance. I have nothing to hide, and we try to give the reader sources to check our writings. We can finally see for ourselves that Sumerian scholars have been so critical of Sitchin, not because he's narrow-minded or anything, but because Sitchin really does not seem to know what he's talking about. He's not a scholar of ancient languages, end quote. His work, contradictory, exclusive, and unprovable arguments, overly dependent conclusions for the sake of confirmation rather than a rigorous attempt at proof, lack of transparency in the evaluation of evidence, unable to confront expert archaeologists on his writings, absent systematic work practice of and the relation development of his theories, he fits the description of the pseudoscientist who deceptively portrays himself as a scientist. Zacharia Sitchin was not verified for any of the predictions he made, and neither was the existence of the mysterious planet Nibiru, on which all his mythology is based, confirmed, nor did the Anunnaki return before 2012 to save the doomed humanity. Astronomers reject the idea of the planet Nibiru and have made efforts to inform the public that there is no threat to Earth. They point out that such an object so close to Earth would easily be visible to the naked eye, but the budgies insist on maintaining Sitchin's aerologies. And this is from Grigorius Maklinitsas. I've translated this for you from a Greek article. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.